I just want to get started out by saying, just acknowledging everyone in New England that's affected by the blizzard. A lot of people with no power, and we're thinking about you. My wife's going through it right now as well. Dog got stuck in the snow this morning, so just kind of acknowledging that, it's tough out there, and hoping that everyone's staying safe. Piggybacking off of that, just want to thank Nancy Meyer, the logistical gymnastics that went into sending so many people from our organization here to the Combine. Pretty remarkable what she was able to do. We actually ended up flying out a day and a half early to Detroit, drove down, but we're here. We're able to knock out some of the meetings that we had early, so it ended up being a good thing. But, I just wanted to open it up for any questions at this time.
Last year was the quarterback situation. What are you going to do? We're going to take our swing. So it is nice to have that piece in place, to have a good quarterback that play well you know who you're going to build with. So yeah, it was an exciting time for us.
Yeah, I mean, it was tremendously important. We're very excited about the draft class, and they're just getting started. They're still young. We were able to get some good minutes out of those guys, and it's a credit to Coach Vrabel and his staff getting those guys ready to play. And I think it's a tribute to them buying into the culture so quickly and understanding that what it means to be a Patriot, and we're excited about the progress that they've made moving forward.
We'll get back to Eliot Wolf in just a second, but first I want to remind you guys that we have coverage for you from the NFL Combine all week long. So we're going to hear from Eliot Wolf once again. We're going to hear from head coach Mike Vrabel and just some of the players that the Patriots will be meeting with. And this is just a little bit of what we are going to be doing this whole entire offseason. Every single day, we got you covered. Free agency is in less than a month. The draft is in just over 2 months, and also OTAs, minicamp, and so much more. We are the best Patriots channel here on YouTube, and interactive and informative content, the best channel on YouTube. And of course, we want to hear from you guys. We love hearing from the fans. So hit that sub button right now. Keep yourself up to date with all the Patriots news and rumors. Now let's get back to General Manager Eliot Wolf.
You had two safeties in Woods and Hawkins last year. Not only in shape, but single has deep box. In today's NFL, how would you so many options?
Yeah, I mean, the safety position, like you said, they have to be able to do everything. They have to be able to play down in the box, man cover, tackle in space, and having guys that are interchangeable just kind of opens up a lot of different things for the defense that Zach Kuhr and Terrell Williams can kind of employ. So we're excited about those guys. Obviously, Hawkins is a free agent, and he's earned the opportunity to see what's out there, but he's certainly someone that we would welcome back. Yeah, first thing you have to look at is, communication is so underrated at that position. I think maybe a lot of fans don't understand that. Being able to communicate, set the defense, that's something that we talk to the coaching staffs in college about, and just making sure that, anyone that comes in has to be able to communicate and be smart. But on the field, it's the athleticism, it's the change of direction, it's the speed and range, the anticipation that these guys play with are very important traits that we look for. Yeah, I think you can look at that in two different ways. On one hand, maybe they're coming in a little bit more entitled, but on the other hand, they're coming in more prepared from a business standpoint. Like, they've had money, they know what it's like, they know, some financial literacy and understanding the trials and tribulations that come with that. So I think it's a double-edged sword. It's like anything, you just have to be able to adjust, and every person can be different. No, not really. I mean, we have a standard set of questions that we ask, and each formal interview that we have, we sort of tailor to the player that's in there. So each interview is not exactly the same, but if there's some questions and concerns that are raised about different things, we'll kind of press on that. I don't know if I'd look at it as risky. I think you have to do what's best for the football team, and with our best five out there, I think we won a lot of games. Obviously, the last game was not very productive, in a lot of areas on offense, and we're just excited that Will and Jared are made of the right stuff, and we're excited about what they're going to do moving forward.
Elliot, how is the dog? Did the dog make it out of the snow?
The dog is okay. Yeah,
just
thank you.
wanted to follow up on that
he's
part.
good.
In general, how would you describe the Patriots' approach to free agency this year?
We're going to explore every avenue to try to improve the team. We filled a lot of needs last year, and we're still building. We have areas that maybe we feel good about the starters, but maybe the depth's not where we want it to be. We have areas where, we maybe need to add a starter. So I think it's going to be sort of a holistic approach, and working together with Coach Vrabel and his staff and the scouting staff and Richard Miller and Matt Groh on the contract side, and we're going to try to build this thing, to improve the team as much as we can.
Eliot,
again, I think we're going to try to do what's best. It doesn't necessarily mean that we have to spend because Drake's on a rookie contract. We're going to, again, make decisions, both for the short and long term that we see as best moving forward.
Elliot, you said in response to Mike, you guys are still building. Do you view this still as a rebuild, or you guys just made a Super Bowl? Do you feel like you're a move or two away from getting back?
Yeah, I don't know that I'd call it a rebuild. I think we have a nice core of players. Whether that's a core of veteran players that we rely on, or some of the younger up and coming players like the rookies that were mentioned earlier. So again, I just think every year is an opportunity. Every year is different. Every year is an opportunity in free agency and the draft to improve the roster. And it's not just free agency and the draft. It's trades. It's waiver claims, it's restricted free agency, all those things. We're going to explore everything that we can.
Did the Super Bowl run? Did the Super Bowl run, Elliot? Did it change your view of where the roster is in terms of its arc?
No, I'm really proud of our players. Again, they bought in quickly. They figured out how to win, but I think everyone on the roster is aware that we still need some pieces, and we're gonna create as much competition as we possibly can.
Elliot, how do you view the
Yeah, I'm not going to get into any specific details on any free agents for our team and obviously for other teams, but we have had conversations, and we had good exit meetings with those guys, and I think they understand where we're at.
Elliot, do you find, we've made some changes throughout the football organization, whether
I do. I wouldn't say I spend a ton of time on that. Richard Miller, who works in our research department, he puts together some pretty comprehensive mock draft analysis stuff that's really helpful, and it just kind of gives you an idea of maybe where the league sees a player.
How satisfied were you with Drake's year 1 to year 2 improvement, and what are you looking for him as a quarterback this year?
Satisfied is a tremendous understatement. Drake made a ton of progress in a lot of areas, not only at the start of the season, but throughout the season. And, I think people forget that he's 23 years old, and there's been a lot on his shoulders, and there will continue to be with the expectation that it has being a quarterback for the New England Patriots. But I'm just really excited about him, his toughness, his competitiveness. He's always the same guy. And there's obviously areas on the field that he's going to improve, and he's going to work with Coach McDaniels and Coach Grant and get those things taken care of.
Elliot, how do you view the draft class overall, especially where you're picking late in the first round?
I think every year, I feel like every year for the last 5 years, everyone said, "Oh, it's not a good draft. It's not a good draft." Like I don't really buy that. I feel like if you're doing your job, you're going to be able to find players, rounds 1 through 7 that can help your team. Obviously, there's varying levels of that, but we still feel like we have enough team needs where we're going to be able to get good players that are going to help our team moving forward.
Drake was under pressure a lot in the Super Bowl. How do you balance protecting him, keeping him healthy, but also the development of a player like Will Campbell and the continuity of the offensive line?
Yeah, I think there's a couple different points in there. Continuity is tremendously important. We were actually, fairly healthy on the offensive line this year, and I felt like those guys were able to gel and play well. And, when Will specifically, when he came back from that injury, I personally didn't see the same level of lower body strength that you saw before the injury, and I think, the film would attest to that. Like, he probably had 3 of his 4 worst games in the playoffs. But before that, I thought Will played really well all year. I know everyone talks about the arm length, but he has a set of skills that enable him to play with that arm length. He's really quick out of his stance. He's technically sound. He's adding more and more different pass sets to his tool bag that he can use to combat different rushes. And again, he's 22 years old, and we expect some improvement out of him as well. I'm not going to get into any specific players today. There are certain conversations that we're having, and we'll see what happens with everyone. I think that's probably a question better asked to him. I didn't feel that way. I just felt like we just couldn't get in a rhythm offensively.
We've got some that we use internally. We have
I know you're talking about college offenses, but I still think it's understanding what's inside of a person and trying to get to know them. The quarterback position is so difficult to play, not only in college but at our level as well. And when you're trying to identify, what makes a guy tick, what kind of leader is he going to be, how tough is he, how is he going to react in adverse situations, I still think that's the hardest thing to evaluate in college to pro. Yeah, I think you just have to make sure the information's consistent. Like if a player's at school A and you get certain information on him that's totally different from where he's at school B, then you really have to spend. If the information's consistent throughout, then I think and you talk to him and it's the same thing, then you have a pretty good idea of what it's going to be.
Eliot, you guys already had Barmore as a tone setter in the contract you had a couple of years. Teams are playing more light boxes, wanting to be more coverage. How important are just a really good hire for us?
Yeah, I think just being able to affect the quarterback is tremendously important, whether that's from the interior or on the exterior. I know a lot of quarterbacks, talking to people throughout the league, a lot of quarterbacks actually, are more worried about the interior pressure because he can't step up. We're excited to have those guys, and not only them, but, Kyrus Tonga, who's a free agent, Corey Durden, and some of the other guys that we had that were playing in there that were able to provide that push.
Ellie,
Yeah, John Eric Sullivan, he and I started with the Packers the same year in 2004. Have stayed close with him. Just really excited for his opportunity. A little bit disappointed that it's in our division, but I know he's excited for the opportunity, and I'm excited to try to be able to beat him twice a year.
Ellie, when you look at the running back.
Yeah, he was there, so that was a really cool experience, other than the outcome of the game. But, I think he was very frustrated with the outcome of the game. But, just kind of understanding, you got to get up the next day and keep working, and we're all aware that we have a lot of work to do, so that was helpful.
Mike Vrabel puts a lot of emphasis on playing with your team and training. Do you see a different level of that for college offensive linemen and things like that? And is that something that you can teach?
Talk about teaching demeanor?
Playing with demeanor, finishing.
Yeah, I think you can. I think if it's in there, you can teach that. I think there's plenty of players, some that I can think of off the top of my head that kind of flash that, but they don't play that way all the time. And I just think that's a mindset. And I think you can get a little bit better with that with coaching. Now, if the guy's soft and passive, maybe not. But we're always looking for guys that play hard and try to finish.
Ellie, when you go through the scouting process, what are some sort of traits that you like in running backs, just in general?
I'm a big fan of guys that run hard, guys that can really hit the hole with force and burst through. I know there's a lot of different running styles, a lot of people that have different varying levels of success, but to me, the guys that can really attack the hole and put pressure on the defense are valuable.
Eliot, how double back on the demeanor conversation, a coach like Mike Vrabel and a guy like that, his mindset, how do you go through this process with these players, in the interviews, and say, okay, is this guy a good attitude match with the coach versus is the coach a good attitude match with the player?
Well, that's a good question. I would just say too, our coaching staff is pretty special. They're going to work with everyone. So whether it's the try hard guy that has the great play demeanor, or a guy that maybe we need a little bit more out of, Coach Vrabel and the staff do a tremendous job working with all those people. There's no one that's getting pushed to the side. Everyone gets coached the same, and I think the level of improvement we saw with a lot of different players on our roster this year is indicative of that.
And then how confident are you in the veterans and the current players that can teach that?
Very confident. Again, I've said it before, in free agency last year, and with some of the guys that were previously on the team, having the right mindset and having the real culture guys that carry Coach Vrabel's message is very important.
What do you think of some of the edge coverage in this draft?
Yeah, I mean, I think this draft offers a lot of different depth at varying areas. Edge being one of them, and I think it's a fairly deep class at that position. I think, obviously an area of need for our team, so I think it matches up nicely.
Eliot, when you look back at the Giants throughout the season, how remarkable was that, especially having
Yeah, I mean, it's a credit to Zach, how well the defense played, but also, Terrell Williams was still there, and Vrabel obviously has some influence on that, but really, the whole defensive staff worked collaboratively together, and came up with these game plans. I know Coach Booker in particular, and with the coverage plans and things like that. But I think it was really cool how the staff kind of rallied together when Terrell had to to leave for a little bit, and I thought it was a really cool show of loyalty to the group that we were able to have the level of success that we have.
Two final questions. That's something you can build on, obviously.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, with Zach didn't know he was going to be the play caller until really the season started. So I think having more preparation time and maybe having lived through a season doing it and understanding what worked and what didn't work and when to spin the wheel with the blitz or play coverage or I think just with experience those things will improve.
Eliot, what would you?
Question.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I mean, it's great, but personally, when the team has success, I often find myself being a lot more excited for the other people that are my teammates and the people that I work with. And to have played in that game and tasted it and not come out on the winning side of that, I think just motivates everybody to try to get back there and try to finish the job.
Thanks, Eliot.
Thank you.